We've got the iPhone 11 here with us today. It's a model that most people who choose iPhone this year would pick. It's going to be super popular and retains many of the features from the Pro model. Okay, this video is aimed to look at the basic gestures and interactions, and hopefully useful for anybody coming from a device older than the iPhone 10. We've roughly divided it into 5 sections, and just to say, it's not definitive all the gestures. It's just ones that we really like and find useful. Okay, firstly, it's running the latest software as of beginning of October 2019. Let's go into the first section, which is the camera. So the camera, super compelling. It's really loving this wide-angle lens. I think this zoom wheel for me personally is a favorite feature of the camera app. It just lets you quickly and smoothly get into where you want to go. All the usual buttons, shutter, the volume up and volume down works as a camera button. Just be sure not to cover the lens, because that way you'll end up blocking the sensor or making your lens cover slightly dirty. Okay, so you can hop up or hop down and left or right. So this is just some settings. I mean, some of you might prefer to click in person rather than sort of doing the swipe, but that's totally up to you. On the new, hopefully you can see this. On the new note entry system, it's actually been quite improved. Part of this is from Apple's attempt to make the iPad Pro more professional, and some of that has filtered down back to the iPhone side, which is really quite exciting. Okay, so if we can just to select a sentence, we just have to 3 clicks. See, and of course, I don't promise to get all the gestures right on the first attempt. This is just to quick demonstration. So, whereas 4 clicks should select a paragraph. See, that's super useful and makes selecting things on the move a lot easier. Okay, so whereas in the past you have to click these buttons, sorry to move the camera, you have to copy something, you have to select that. Now if you want to pinch in, you can copy it, and pinch in again, it will cut it. So see, it's been cut. And if we, it's already selected there, so if we just, same 3 fingers, pinch out again, that's quite neat. So it's pasted again. That's quite useful. Okay, so there's also an undo and redo button. So to undo what we just done, so just 3 fingers right click, left swipe, and 3 fingers swipe again. It has undone the 2 previous movements. So to redo, it's opposite direction. So that's quite neat. Okay, that's super neat, actually quite logical as well. So once we've selected specific text, so let's say select this sentence, if we drag it, we can actually drag it across somewhere into text. I'm personally not quite a fan of this just yet because it's a little bit fiddly, but obviously I know that it's better to have the function than not have it. So if we undo it, okay, right. Of course, if you don't like the gesture, you can still, of course, use these buttons to do the same things. And in the text intro mode, when the keyboard is available, what I quite find useful is if we just hover over text. We're just trying to... There's so many typos on this. Okay, so if we select somewhere and hover near it, see, now we can move the cursor quite easily. This is quite neat. Takes a little getting used to, if that makes sense. But once you're used to it, it's one of those features you either use or use a little bit less of. Okay, so that's the second bit of this video in terms of gestures, and I really like some of the refinements. Okay, thirdly, let's just do some basics. So if you haven't seen iPhone 11 or even iPhone 10, so this is the notification setting, and over the top left, top right corner, that's the more additional settings you can have. So it's only on this side. So it's quite useful, quite neat. Okay, so one of the things we probably really recommend is go into setting and switch on reachability. Once you've switched it on, you can just if I can do it properly, see, do this, and so it's a little bit easier to reach the top with just one hand. I mean, personally, I can reach it just fine, so I don't use this feature much, but if you're used to an older model with a smaller screen, then maybe the reachability is quite useful. And of course, hold the right button for Siri.
I'm here.
And if we politely ask Siri to pop away. Okay, so that's the third section. So one of the other sections that you might not have been familiar with if you haven't used iPhone recently is this app switching, because the home button is no longer here. So to get the recent apps, so we just have to hold the bottom and hold. So that's quite neat. Hold, and it's here. So we can close 2 or however many you'd like at once. It's oddly satisfying. Okay, right, so that's the next section. One of the tips that we would have before we go, so this is the last section, is that the Face ID, obviously a lot of people quite like it. One of the things is in some contexts it can be a little bit inconvenient. For instance, if you want to keep certain work to yourself and you've got people who want to get into your phone, it's by pointing at your face, then obviously one of the features is hold the, so
I found this on the web.
Excuse me, so it's hold this and volume down and the right button at the same time. It will bring up a lock screen, so cancel that, and that momentarily disables the Face ID. So that means next time somebody wants to get in your phone, they have to do the passcode. So that's a shortcut. So for instance, if you're sort of suddenly sort of getting off the bus in the evening, that sort of thing, maybe just try that. It's make it a habit. But that's probably too much information. That's all the time we have. If there's any question, just drop us a message. We'll be here to answer any questions, and give us a subscribe if you can. That'd be really appreciated. Thanks. Take care. Bye.